My name is Rusty. I am an old golden retriever now. My muzzle silvered by time, my legs slower than they once were. My hearing softer, but my heart and my memory remain painfully sharp. Dogs remember what humans forget. Not dates, not numbers, not promotions, not stock prices. We remember who was there and who was not. I belong to Daniel Brooks. Or maybe it is truer to say, I waited for him. That is what love often becomes when someone is always chasing tomorrow, waiting. Daniel lived in a beautiful house outside Nashville, Tennessee. White painted porch, wide green lawn, a basketball hoop above the garage, a red maple tree in the front yard that turned fiery gold every October. Inside lived his wife Hannah, warm-eyed and quietly strong, the kind of woman who held a family together with routines nobody noticed until they were gone. And there was little Eli, 7 years old when I first came home. Freckles across his nose, messy brown hair, bright blue sneakers that squeaked on hardwood floors. A laugh so pure it made even old rooms feel young. He loved two things with his whole little heart, baseball and his dad. Every evening, Eli would sit by the front window with me, his small fingers tangled gently in my fur, his eyes fixed on the driveway. Waiting, always waiting. Dad said he'd throw the ball with me tonight, Rusty. Then headlights would finally appear. But Daniel would step out of his black SUV, still talking into a Bluetooth headset, laptop bag over one shoulder, face lit by phone screens and deadlines. He smelled of leather seats, airport lounges, expensive cologne and exhaustion. The modern American scent of success and quiet absence. Buddy, not tonight, big meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow. Humans build entire tragedies with that word. Tomorrow became next weekend. Next weekend became next month. Next month became someday. And someday is where many beautiful things go to die. I watched little moments pass like autumn leaves. Eli standing in a baseball uniform scanning the bleachers for his father. An empty seat. Eli blowing out birthday candles while glancing toward the door. No footsteps. Eli learning to ride a bike, wobbling down the sidewalk while Hannah ran breathless behind him. No father's hand steadying the seat. Daniel always had reasons, good reasons, noble reasons. He was building security, paying for private school, saving for college, planning family vacations he never had time to take, buying a bigger house nobody sat together in. He loved his son. Of that I have no doubt. But love ungiven in time becomes love unfelt. That is a cruel truth. Children do not measure love by sacrifice they cannot see. They measure it by presence, by eye contact, by laughter, by bedtime stories, by a hand that shows up when promised. Years moved quietly, like winter settling over fields. Eli became 16, then 23, broad-shouldered, quiet, polite, independent. He no longer waited by windows. That was the saddest change of all. He stopped expecting. One autumn evening, Daniel came home early, gray now at the temples, lines deeper around his eyes. Success finally built, money stacked high, time suddenly available. He walked into the backyard carrying 2 baseball gloves. I had not seen that look in him before. Hope, regret wrapped in hope. Eli was visiting from Chicago for the weekend. Daniel smiled awkwardly. Want to play catch, son? There was a long silence. Wind moved softly through the maple leaves. Eli looked at the gloves, then at his father, then quietly said, I don't really play anymore. Simple words. No anger, no bitterness, only distance. Distance is colder than anger. Anger still holds heat. Distance is where warmth has died. Daniel stood there holding both gloves, like a man arriving at a station long after the train had gone. That night he sat on the porch beside me, one hand resting on my old head, and in a voice softer than I had ever heard, he whispered, I was doing it for him. I leaned my heavy body against his leg, because I knew. But children cannot hug intentions. They can only hold moments. Moments, once gone, do not return wearing the same face. That is what humans misunderstand about time. Money lost can be earned again. Careers can be rebuilt. Homes can be bought and sold. But a 7-year-old boy waiting by a window for his father only exists once in all eternity. Miss that season, and no amount of love later can fully recreate what absence quietly erased. If I have learned anything lying at the feet of human hearts, it is this. Provide for your family, yes. Work hard, yes. Build something meaningful, yes. But while you build a life for your children, do not forget to be inside the life they are living now. Because one day you may finally have the time you always promised them and discover they needed you when they were small, not when you were finally free. Some doors in the heart do not slam shut. They simply close softly year by year until opening them no longer feels natural. And that is a heartbreak quieter than tears.